And we're live. Moved the chairs around a little bit since the last episode because I was red from our background lights. So hopefully I'm not red this time.
Learning each and every time.
And we decided we need a blackout curtain for that window because that sucker's bright.
There you go.
And fun lanterns for these lights and making things better, making things optimal. You never start a journey awesome. You start a journey sucking pretty bad.
We've actually been talking to our oldest son about this because he has OCD tendencies and he really struggles with failure and messing up. And we're trying to teach him.
And perfectionism.
We're trying to teach him that it's okay to mess up and that's how you learn. And as he's learning to write his name and as he's learning to make eggs on the stove, we've been teaching him how to do that. And sometimes he cracks the egg and he does great. And other times he cracks it and he gets shells in it. And he gets so mad and so frustrated and sometimes even just loses it because it wasn't perfect and he got shells in his eggs. And we are teaching him that it's okay, that it takes practice. It takes doing something over and over and over and over again to get good at it, because that's how we all start with everything we do in life. We all start at ground zero.
You have to be willing to suck. And our oldest with his eggs the other day, he wanted a volcano egg, which is an over easy egg. For those that don't know what a volcano egg, he likes to crush it with his fork and make it erupt. However, when he cracked it, he stuffed his thumb into the egg, which would have been great if he made an egg sandwich with the popped, ruptured yolk. He wanted an open yolk that he can pop. Therefore, the action that he took was not coincidental with the result that he wanted. We do that in life all the time. We do one action that would normally yield a positive result, but in this given situation, with what you're desiring, the outcome, it will not give a positive result. And that comes with consistency.
How often do we go into a new relationship and just expect it to be great from the beginning?
Me.
Totally.
No.
You go into a new relationship, especially an intimate relationship, and you have to learn about each other. You have to learn people's tics and their pet peeves, and you learn by trialing, by doing things and then finding out, oh, this really pisses them off or this really irritates them. You learn as you go through your relationship the things that your partner likes and doesn't like, and the things that you like and don't like. It's through trial and error and through having experiences that you learn and that you grow and that you become better.
We tend to share reels to each other on social media often. It's usually innuendo-ish in nature. But there's also some stoicism in there. And there's quite a bit of mindset growth, adaptation, manipulation. And one modern stoic that we really, really, really like is Simon Sinek.
He's awesome.
Simon Sinek's mind, the way it works, is pretty cool. And he regurgitates a lot of things that we already know in his own words, in his own ways, in his own fashion. And there was a reel that one of us shared. I don't know if I shared it to her, she shared me. We both saw it. And because we both follow Simon. And he was speaking to a group of people and made this comment that said, you know, you're not going to get bigger in the gym just by going once. You're not going to get whiter teeth by brushing for 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes in the evening for one day. In fact, if you compared day 1 to day 2, there's going to be zero difference. And if you, Michaela's got something.
You're good.
She was going to go after it.
I was just going to say, it actually, the real started, his conversation started with asking a question of, when did you know that you loved your partner? What metric, what day, what time, what moment did everything change from liking them to loving them? And that you can't. There's no specific thing that it's like, oh, I like them now, to I love them. I am in love with them. Yes, you may feel the adjustment and feel the change and feel the shift, but there is no specific one day that everything changed. And then he relates it to the gym. And you go to the gym every single day, and you start by, if you just go to the gym tomorrow and then you go home and you look in the mirror, you're not going to see a difference. You brush your teeth today, you're not going to see a huge change tomorrow. But
No change.
you're not going to see any change. But the consistency of going to the gym every single day builds on each other, and then you see consistency and you see growth over time. And that's what he's relating it to with love and relationships, that it is a consistent path, that you are consistently working on this relationship every single day, and you will see growth and more connection over time.
What she said. I forgot about that first part. I was more honed in on the consistency fact in everything. It is by small and simple things that great things are brought to pass. You climb a ladder fastest by small, short steps. Very, very small gaps in the rungs, not gargantuan leaps. And this really has caused us to have the conversation of how often do we or do other couples say, I love you every day? Very often I've known people say, oh, I don't need to say it all the time because they just know it. I show with my actions. Actions are louder than words. To a degree. They both have their own meaning, their own impact, and their own importance. They both need to happen. You need to show your love. You also need to say it. And Michaela and I say, I don't know, I actually don't want to count it because it's a lot. It's
A lot.
It's a lot. It's in probably the hundreds.
Every time we leave, every time we're going somewhere, every time we get off the phone with each other, every time we can.
I mean, we cross paths at home. It's sometimes a joking fashion, like, hey, I love you. Sometimes it's a more serious tone. It depends on what's happening, what's going on. If we're in a spunky, fun, playful mood, it's going to come across spunky, fun, and playful. If we're more serious or we're more what have you, it's going to follow that same path and that same resonance. But we say I love you a lot. Almost like throw up amount a lot. It's like, this is too cute. I'm going to barf. But last night, Michaela did the dishes. She hates doing the dishes. Like, when I say hates doing the dishes, this does not quite encompass her displeasure.
I truly do. Almost as much as I hate cooking.
She really hates cooking.
Yeah, that's true. I think cooking tops it.
She despises cooking. She despises the dishes. She despises folding laundry. All things that I do. And that's totally fine. And guess what she did last night? She did the dishes. Because I was taking care of some other things. We show up for each other. Often. We, quote unquote, brush our teeth for 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes in the evening every day. We, quote unquote, go to the gym every day and put in real effort. This is not just like slide my toothbrush over my teeth once and walk away, or go to the gym and walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes and go home. This is intentional. This is a great deal of effort is put into showing up for each other every single day, in the big ways and especially in the small ways.
I think people forget about that, and I really want you guys as the listeners to take a step back and analyze what you do for your partner on a daily basis to show them that you love them. Now, it's easy to show our partner that we love them in our love language. I'm constantly, for those who listen to our episode on the 5 love languages, I constantly show Brad love in physical touch because that's my love language. I'm hanging on him all the time. I used to have ex-boyfriends who would be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so clingy." And I thought that was a bad thing. But that's how I show love. I am touchy, feely, holding your hand, rubbing your arm, giving you hugs. Like if I'm close to Brad, I'm usually touching him, touching his leg, touching his arm in some form or fashion because that's my love language, is that physical connection. Now, that's easy for me. I can do that all day long. But am I showing him love in the way that he truly feels it? And honestly, there's a lot of times I struggle with it because Brad's love language is acts of service. And this is something that we've really looked at and dove into a lot, is what helps each of us to feel loved from the other person. And for Brad, this may sound silly to some people, but because it's acts of service, something that really stands out to him is when I do the dishes, when the sink is empty, the dishes are done, and when the laundry is done and folded and put away. Now, someone may think, oh, that's just a daily task that you do. And to me, it's literally one of the things I struggle with the most. But he notices because that means a lot to him because of how he receives love. And I have had to take a step back and be like, he has been focusing on me a lot and really showing me love. But am I really doing the same thing? Am I showing him love on a daily basis the way that he feels it? And honestly, I hadn't been to the full degree that I would like to. I was loving him the way that was easy for me to love him. And so a big thing that I have done recently is I do the dishes. It's one of the first things I do. If there are dishes in the sink, I will go do them. And this has honestly just been the past week or two that I'm trying.
Since we moved back into this house.
Yes, I'm trying really hard to do that. And it kind of sucks for me. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, I got this. And I know that over time, as you do it, it becomes easier because it's the consistency that you recognize that. And the purpose behind it is to show my partner my love for them and figuring out what that means for you guys and have the conversations. Talk with your partner. Be like, what is something that would help you feel so loved? Like, what are the things that I do that bring you joy and love and comfort from me specifically? And make a list, and then you have them. And one of the things I love that Brad does that I've told him is I love when he will randomly come up behind me, give me a hug from behind, and kiss my neck. Like, I'm serious. If I am in a bad mood, if I am mad or frustrated, and he comes up and does that, I just melt. And I am so much happier and feel loved and connected. And it's a simple hug from behind. But to me, that means the world. But how is your partner going to know that unless you actually communicate with them and tell them the things that bring you joy and love and comfort?
And here's the thing. For one, Michaela despises the dishes and the laundry, not because it's the dishes and the laundry. A big portion of it is it hurts her back. The hunching over with the clothes on the bed. The hunching over with the dishes down in the sink. It's those things that it brings her physical discomfort. It's not just the fact that she just dislikes them. And it's not just the fact that she's doing dishes and it's an act of service that shows me love. It's the fact that she doesn't like to do it and is doing it anyway. It's the fact that she despises doing it, but does it anyway because she knows that I notice. She knows that I see it. I may not always say that I see it. Most of the time I do. And sometimes she goes, "Did you notice the dishes were done?" Yes. Yes, I did.
I did it. I did it just for you. Notice me.
Notice my love for you. Or when she vacuums the house, or when she does things that if she doesn't do them, I will. Because it's easy for me to serve her in any capacity because that's how I feel loved. But it's not easy for me, and it's not I shouldn't say it's not easy. It's not my first inclination to go behind her and hug her from behind and kiss her neck. It's not my first inclination to reach over and hold her hand while we're driving. It's not my first inclination when we're watching a movie to grab her feet and massage her feet. A lot of times she has to remind me. But I'm trying. And whenever I have the thought, I act. Because the whole thought precedes action and action precedes opportunity. I have the thought, you should probably rub her feet. So therefore, I rub her feet. And the opportunity therein is growing closer together. And then that growing closer together yields more thoughts, which yields more opportunities and actions. It's focusing on the growth and intentionally showing up every day in the small things. It's not showing up in the big things. And yes, the big things will take care of themselves. The statement goes, take care of the pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves. That goes along with finances and that goes along with your relationship. If you are paying attention to the little things, the big things are easy peasy lemon squeezy. But if you're only paying attention to the big things, the small things go by the wayside, and by natural order, the big things fall apart too.
There's a saying that I've heard many people say that honestly drives me crazy is we fell out of love. And I don't believe that's
BS.
ever the case. I believe that couples stopped working on their relationship. They stopped putting each other first and having the consistency of showing up each and every day. Of course, anybody's going to just become roommates when you're not consistently working on it. If you stop going to the gym, guess what? Your muscles are going to fade. They're not going to stay there. You worked on them for 1 year, built up the muscles, and you're like, sweet, I got the muscles now. I can stop going to the gym. It doesn't work that way. Either does your relationship. You have to work on it every single day. It is the little things on a daily basis that strengthen your relationship, that create that strong foundation that will hold the relationship. But you have to have the conversations. You have to talk to figure out what your partner actually wants, what they actually love. Stop loving your partner just in the way that you think they should be loved, the way that's easy for you to love them, because chances are they're not feeling it the way that they want to feel it. And then your partner's going to go to you and say, I'm not feeling loved. And you're like, what do you mean you're not feeling loved? I touch your hand, I rub your feet, I rub your back, I give you hugs all the time. What are you talking about? You don't feel loved. Well, I'm not feeling it because it's not, this may seem silly to people, but the 5 love languages is so real. It may be seen in so many different ways, but the way people receive love is true to them. And it doesn't matter how much I tell Brad, you should feel loved when I give you hugs. You should feel loved when I hold your hand. You should feel loved when I tell you on a daily basis that I love you so much. What do you mean you don't know I love you? I tell you every single day. But to that person, they're not going to receive it the way that they need to receive it. And it's not fair of us to put that on to someone else and tell them how they should feel loved. Ask them how they feel loved for them.
All the things she just said and more. I was pondering about a conversation I had with one of my coaching clients yesterday. He has lost an unreal amount of weight following a program, and he's now on a phase of the program where he has no direction. He's between phases. And the idea of between phases is, will you hold the standard you have created for yourself? This is where most people falter in fitness and health, nutrition, spirituality, relationships, love, you name it. This is where most people fall. They will put a great deal of energy for a short period of time. They will achieve the goal to which they were going after. And they say, cool, I'm going to let off the gas because I'm really tired. This takes a ton of energy to do. I'm just going to take a breather for a minute. I'm going to go back to what I was doing. And next thing they know, they've backslid to where they were before. The same thing happens in your relationship. Michaela can go and do the dishes and the laundry and put a great deal of energy and effort for a short window of time. I can hold her from behind and kiss her neck and hold her hand and touch her leg and give her kisses and all the things that she needs to feel loved for a window of time. But if I give that great deal, get to this point where our marriage is stupendous and amazing and awesome, well, we've reached the finish line. So I can let off the gas. I can relax and go back to my normal state of doing things because it was not created into a habit and a standard of self. Well, you backslide to where you were before. And then you look back in history, and we know so many relationships like this. It was so amazing during this time. We were so connected and so strong, and we fell out of love. Well, you were working really hard and making great strides, got to the finish line because you thought there was a finish line. That was problem number one. And then you let off the gas, and then you backslid. And backslid so far, it blew past the baseline you were at. I've been doing a lot of stock trading, and it's actually really funny how the same thing happens. Things pump up like crazy, and then it hits this pinnacle, and then turns around, and people try and catch it, and it pumps back up, and then it crashes. And when it crashes with beauty and excellence beyond the baseline where it started to begin with. And we know people in this situation right now that are either getting divorced, just got divorced, or are greatly discussing divorce, when all they need to do is the little things. They need to brush their teeth every day.
So I encourage you to sit down, have this conversation with your partner. Now, get note cards, whatever you want to do, and pick 3 things. You don't have to do everything. It's not a list of 10 things to do every single day that just becomes exhausting. Sit down with your partner. Each of you write down 3 things that means the world to you, that you feel the most loved when your partner does this thing. Pick your top 3 and either screenshot it, have it on your phone, whatever, somewhere you see every single day, and just start doing those 3 things until it becomes a daily habit. And then you will be able to start seeing that difference in your relationship when you are continuously on a daily basis showing your partner love the way that they would like to receive it. Start with 3.
The end. She's already said have this conversation with your partner. So like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. Until next week, we love you guys. Bye.